Don't make these mistakes. No pressure.
Hey mamas, welcome back to The Balanced Mom. Have you ever made a mistake as a homeschooling parent? Because I know that I have.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's talk about some of these mistakes. Number one, biggest mistake, especially if you're a teacher, do not try to recreate the classroom at home. They don't even each need their own desk. It might come in handy as they get older, but again, you're not trying to recreate the classroom, put whiteboards up and have everything be the same as a classroom. Guilty, guilty, guilty.
Making them raise their hands.
Who would do that? Ridiculous.
Making them ask to use the bathroom or get like a hall pass to go to the bathroom. That you too?
No, not a hall pass. I mean, it's like 5 feet from our schoolroom. That would be ridiculous. However, I do think there's a skill in asking to use the bathroom. Like if you're in the middle of a meeting and you're like, excuse me, I have to step out, right? Like that makes more sense. But yes, don't try to recreate the classroom.
If you do, you could just be placing like more stress on yourself to try to recreate that classroom experience and more stress on the kid. The nice part of homeschooling is having sort of a relaxed environment, and you're taking that away when you try to recreate the classroom.
That is so true.
Second mistake lots of homeschooling parents make is trying to follow the public school schedule. Again, it's so nice to have the flexibility when you're homeschooling, so you do not have to follow the same schedule as the schools around you.
They do not need to have math from 9 to 9:50. They do not need language arts from 10 to 10:50.
And not even just with the daily schedule, even with holiday schedules. You can travel on the off season, like not during spring break, and then it doesn't have to be like super crowded and super expensive. Take advantage of the flexibility. You can take breaks whenever you need to. You don't have to end the school year when they end the school year. You can go a little bit longer if you want to have a more relaxed school year. You can go throughout the summer and just have really short school days. You can literally do whatever you want to do as a homeschooling parent.
Yes, yes, especially taking advantage of the vacations. As a teacher, I can tell you the only times you were able to travel is during the vacation time. So I've definitely learned to skip spring break and do it a separate time on our own schedule. And same thing with winter break. We end up taking off the 4 days in December, and then we actually have a separate winter break so that we can actually take advantage of the amazing deals off season. Number 3, comparing your homeschooling or your children with all the other children around. It doesn't matter that Susie can read when she's 3. Focus on your own child, because what you don't know is behind the scenes, Susie's mom spent 5 hours a day teaching Susie how to actually read. So do not compare the actual end results, because there was tons of work that went into it. And I'm always reminded of this little thing, which is, do you want to spend tons of hours teaching your child how to spell their name when they're 2 or 3? Or would you rather tell them one time when they're like 6 and it clicks and you're good? Like, I would rather wait and have it take a lot less time than spending hours and hours and hours teaching them these things where just hold off and it saves you time.
And when you compare, you also fall into the trap of not only like hurting your kids, but also hurting yourself, because it hurts your confidence as a homeschool parent. Like, oh, these kids can do this and my kids can't, so I must be doing a horrible job. Every kid learns differently, and that's another benefit of homeschooling, is that you can teach your kids where they're at. And so you really don't need to compare yourself to other homeschooling moms or your kids to other homeschooled kids or public school kids, because it's not doing anyone any favors.
Yes, you do not need to keep up with the Jones, which I think we fall into that trap, like, but Sarah has like 10 activities and my child only has 1. That's totally okay. Do what works best for your family. You don't need to spread yourself thin if you cannot handle 10 activities. I can't handle 10 activities. I barely can handle 1 activity per kid.
Mistake number 4, overloading your kids.
These are so close to my heart. I think I've made every single mistake so far. So let's continue and see what else we have.
So I am a newer homeschooling mom, meaning that my kids are just almost 4 and 5 years old. So we've been homeschooling kind of like since preschool, but like officially homeschooling kind of since like last year. And I have already like overloaded my 5-year-old, and I have felt like so bad. Like I did like a phonics curriculum and a reading curriculum and like a sight word curriculum and a math curriculum, and a 5-year-old just does not need to have all these things and be in school for like 5 hours a day. They need to know the basics, they need to play. Don't overload your kids and don't overload yourself.
Yes, because you don't want the child to be in 2nd, 3rd grade and for them to be already burned out, where they're dreading school and it's a really, really hard thing to get started on.
You want your kids to learn to love learning. And you're not going to do that by overloading them and just giving them busy work and just piling on more and more things when they really don't need it.
Yes, and that actually reminds me, don't feel like your child has to do every single problem on every single page. Guilty, guilty, guilty again.
That's the beauty of homeschooling, is that when your kid has got a concept down with curriculum in a classroom, you have to cater to a bunch of different kids who might need more practice, and so you just make all the kids do all the problems. If your kid has got it down, you can just move on and you can just keep chugging along. You don't have to make them do all these problems that were geared toward a classroom of a bunch of kids who all learn differently and learn at different pieces.
Which reminds me, fast forward to high school when a teacher assigns number 1 through 30 even. Don't do that. That is absolutely ridiculous. I'm speaking as a high school teacher myself. There is no reason why a child should be doing all the evens or all the odds, because they are not beyond crucial. Pick the problems that are crucial. Which ones actually will they learn a new skill from, or will challenge them or take them to the next level. 1 through 30 odd won't do anything except seriously make them dread math or all the other subjects that you might assign that to. Don't feel the need to fill up your kids' schedule with busy work. Here's another worksheet, here's another worksheet, here's another one, but this one's better. No.
You don't have to feel like you have to have like a 6 to 8 hour school day because that's what the school system does. Because a homeschool day could be done in like an hour or 3 hours, or depending on the age of your child, it does not have to take up a full day. You're not checking kids' schoolworks and answering everybody's questions, so you can get through a subject so much faster than you do in public school. You do not need to take up a full day of school. You also do not need to do like every single subject that is out there. I have major FOMO, fear of missing out, of like all the different subjects. Like I see like in kindergarten, she can do social studies and science and history and just all these different subjects, and she doesn't need all of that yet, and I want her again to love learning, and there's time to add that all in later. You don't have to do all of the subjects all the time.
And if you actually take a look at a public school or even a private school schedule, this was eye-opening for me because again, I taught high school, so I'm used to seeing that schedule where they have math every day, language arts every day, every subject is every day. But in the younger grades, what I actually learned and saw is that they do history 3 times a week or twice a week, and science was a few times a week. It wasn't a daily thing. While in high school, it is a daily thing, and that's what I did with my young kids.
Mistake number 5, following a curriculum super rigidly and not tailoring it to your child. We kind of already mentioned this, but you don't have to make them do every single problem and burn them out. If they got it, you can just move on. If they don't have it, you can stay on that subject a little longer and try to flush it out more for them. You tailor it to your child.
And let me tell you a little secret. I have never covered a full textbook in a year. So I think that really goes to show that if teachers cannot cover the full curriculum in a year, then you definitely don't need to do that.
And if a curriculum isn't working for you, feel free to move on and move to something different. You're not stuck to what you're in just because you committed to it. Again, the flexibility is super nice where you just do whatever works for you and your family. Mistake number 6, not letting your kids play.
Or not letting them play enough.
I am definitely guilty of this again because I have 2 young kids, but I love, love, love teaching. And so for me, I could just sit there and like homeschool all day, but really at this age, they learn the most through play. And so sometimes I have to like limit it, like, okay, I'm gonna like work on reading with her a little bit and maybe work on some like basic math, and then the rest of the day, just let her play. And we can also learn math through like cooking together and learning how to measure, or by going into the garden and counting all the flowers outside. They can learn so much just through playing and just through everyday experiences that you don't just need to sit inside and work on a workbook all day.
I wish I could show you a video of what it looked like to homeschool my first child, who's now 10, versus my kindergartner now. It's seriously black and white. In my oldest, I tried to replicate the classroom so much that I basically took out all the play. I knew they had recess, so I gave them recess, and that was pretty much it. And now to look at my kindergartner, and she has so much more time to actually play, and we really just eliminate all the fluff that I used to actually think was important.
And so I have 2 kids who are really close in age, and they play a lot of pretend together. And so that's also a really great experience to teach because you can teach them like moral values while they're playing. So like if they're playing with their dolls and they have like little superheroes and stuff and they're saving people, like you can use that as a teaching experience. Learning through play is just so crucial. Mistake number 7, not taking advantage of everyday experiences to teach your kids.
Like actually teaching them how to cook or how to sew, how to actually take care of a backyard or a garden. These are such important skills to have in your adulthood that it just helps for them to learn it early on instead of getting married and learning how to cook in your adulthood.
Which is what I did. My husband actually taught me how to cook when we were in college together because before that I had never made anything in my life. And so I think it's so fun that they're home with us all day, and so we're cooking 3 meals a day and we're cleaning throughout the day, and you can give them so much more responsibility at such a younger age because they're home with you and they're watching you do these things and they can do them with you. Taking care of a house and providing food for yourself, those are all great things to learn.
Even things like changing a tire or things related to a car, oil change,
Mowing a lawn or just pooling weeds.
all those things are so crucial.
Mistake number 8, not taking breaks when you need to.
Hold on, but my schedule says math is from 9 to 9:50 and then right after language arts starts. So where does this break fit?
Whenever you and your kids need it.
I am so guilty of this. Even now, there are plenty of times where my husband, as he works from home, will come down and be like, guys, have you taken a break at all? Because we're sitting in the same spot, working on subject after subject after subject. So I'm still guilty of it, but I think it's because my kids are now older that I don't feel like they need a break, but they really do. I just don't need the break yet.
Yeah, like you notice your kid is like melting down and losing it. Don't just keep pushing them and making them like hate the subject and resent school. Let them take a breather. They can maybe play for a little bit or maybe go sit in a corner and read or go have a quick snack or step outside for fresh air. It is okay to take breaks throughout the day or even throughout the year. If your husband is traveling for work and you want to go travel with him, you can take a break from school for the week or even just take your school with you. It is okay to take breaks.
Which actually reminds me that even as a high school teacher, there was kids who really just needed a break. Like I had students of different abilities, and so oftentimes we would ask them to either step out on the hall if they were really struggling, or to just walk around the classroom to like get their minds off the frustration. And so everybody handles frustration differently. So even in high school, I had to do the same thing in my own classroom.
Mistake number 9, not maintaining a balance.
And that's seriously what this whole channel is about, related to homeschooling and not related to homeschooling. But finding that right balance, knowing to stop and take a break, knowing to push your child further because they're actually excelling in it, knowing that they need to actually step outside or they need to get their mind off of something, or if they're struggling in the morning to get started, knowing how to actually maneuver around that to motivate them to want to get started. So there's just so many things that you can do to find that right balance, but it's gonna look differently for your family versus for my family versus for Alana's family. So find that right balance that works for you. You'll definitely know when you're there because you'll be comfortable, things will be moving a lot smoother, and you'll basically just know that you've hit that right spot. Y'all, we save the best for last.
Mistake number 10, not preserving or prioritizing your relationship with your child.
Basically acting like you're the teacher and you're right all the time, and basically showing them that you're right all the time. But on a more serious note, honestly reminding yourself that at the end of the day, you are their mom. You want to keep that strong relationship, not the frustrated, like getting them angry because they're not doing it your way. Like allow them a chance to grow. Give them that space to do it their way, not the way you taught it. If they're doing something differently in math, like give them that chance to explain to you what they did. Because at the end of the day, you are their mom and not their actual teacher to constantly be like pushing and fixing and telling them they're doing it wrong again, because in reality they might actually not be doing it wrong.
And you still want them to feel loved, and you still want to create like a relaxing environment, because the thing is, you are home when you're homeschooling, and that's the place where the kids go at the end of the day to refresh and rejuvenate and to just feel like they're loved and safe and secure, and so you don't want to take that away from them. So you want to make sure that the home environment remains a safe place and a happy place.
Yeah, don't strain the relationship over academia. It's totally not worth it.
So those are some of the things that we are guilty of. We would love to know, what are some of the mistakes that you've made in your homeschool?
I think understanding the mistakes helps us grow, and so I think it's really important to know before going into it, what are mistakes I should avoid. And y'all, there's still tons of you that are not subscribed, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get our weekly updates on homeschooling related content, decluttering, all here on our channel. And don't forget to hit the like button. We would really appreciate your support. See you guys next time.